Brodes Media.
What is going on, everyone? Huge win for the Fly Guys. Before we dive into it, if you are new to the channel, smash that subscribe button. I greatly appreciate all the support. Hit the thumbs up button as well. And look, the NHL is back. The NBA returned. You have the NFL also. MLB postseason if you're lucky enough to live in one of those areas. If you go to SeatGeek to buy tickets, you can utilize the promo code Brodes at checkout for $20 off. That's basically knocking off the fees. It's a no-brainer. Promo code Brodes at SeatGeek. Yeah, absolutely. Get yourself to a game. There's no reason not to. And with that being said, enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. Great win down at the Wells Fargo Center. The Flyers are now 2-0-1 after they beat the Boston Bruins 6-3. There was an empty netter involved, but I love the way this team hung in there. They were hanging in. They faced some adversity. They battled. They had a big lead. They lost that lead, and they still grinded and stayed true to themselves to make sure they earned those 2 points and put down a beatdown. So the way that I'll start this bad boy off is talking about Martin Jones. There was this controversy before the game started that I can't believe Carter Hart's not playing. The big one, look, the Boston Bruins, the name pops, and I'm proud that they battled hard to win, and they're always going to be a good organization that's ran the right way, that has a perfection line that can take control and annihilate you on any given night. So I'm not trying to devalue this win, but just because they're the Boston Bruins and you play the Florida Panthers on Saturday and you think, well, who really cares about the Panthers? They're a better team than the Boston Bruins are. Don't be surprised that by the end of the season, if Florida is a stronger opponent. So Carter Hart playing on Saturday night, I don't understand how that's looked down upon as if that's some horrendous way to approach this if you're Alain Vigneault. Martin Jones has to play. What does it do for him if you're just going to play Carter Hart all these games? We already understood. This was made very clear by Chuck Fletcher and the head coach, AV, that this season is a little bit different. You have the break involved with the Olympics. Also, you've been accustomed to playing shortened seasons over the last handful of years because of the pandemic hitting you 2 years ago, because of the 56-game season last year, playing in your arena without any fans, especially to start the season. You're back to 82 games, and you have the Olympic break involved. You're going to see some backup net minding, and I had no problem whatsoever. You can't be mad every time Carter Hart doesn't play. Playing against the Panthers, they're a damn good hockey team that have a lot of skill, that can score a lot of goals, that can do a lot of damage. That game is just as important as it is tonight, even though this is against the Boston Bruins. The Bruins, they're slipping a little bit. They're always going to be ran well. But I think you just associate them. It's like looking at the New England Patriots logo. You've seen dominance for so long that it's hard for us to adjust. When we see it, we just automatically assume greatness. With the Bruins, they're a good team. But it's not as if Carter Hart has to play this game or the Flyers are a dumpster fire organization. So I'm just a little shocked by the reaction to it because I thought it was pretty obvious what was going on, and it made a lot of sense in my eyes. Martin Jones played just fine. There were some issues in front of him, and I'll get to Ristlainen as we discuss this game. But I want to transition to that line that I'm obsessed with in Joel Farabee, Cam Atkinson, and Derick Brassard. They are ridiculously solid. They're feeding off one another. It's almost as if they've been playing together for years. We've all seen Miracle. We're taking a line of coneheads, right? We're taking a line of coneheads. They come in, pass, shoot, score. Yeah, pass, shoot, and score. It's just they know where everybody's at all times. 2-on-1, Cam Atkinson, he's going to take a shot and he's going to score. It might squeak through, but he'll take it, bang. And this is right after this started the scoring for the Flyers in the first period. The perfection line was working the puck down low. Brad Marchand's putting the puck through his skates as he's coming around the goal line. He's cruising behind the net. He's finding guys in the slot. Uh-oh. Bruins have momentum early. They have the swagger early. Here comes our conehead lines cruising through the neutral zone 2-on-1. Odd man rush. Cam Atkinson. And you know where it starts? In the D zone when Derick Brassard is on the half wall along the hash marks. And what a stretch pass. Flyers are up 1-0. That's not the only time they caught my eye. Farabee on a shorthanded opportunity. Here he is changing the angle of his shot. Couldn't make the twine flutter. But it was still just a sensational move, and it shows you how much of a lethal weapon Joel Farabee really is. Unfortunately, right after that, the Bruins get a power play, and as soon as the power play's over, there's some hard work down low by the Bruins' bottom 6 forwards. Hits Travis Sanheim's skate and goes right back door. Now, I'm seeing analytical people bashing Sanheim all the time, bashing a lot of these players all the time, and they hate the fact that Travis Sanheim tried to get in front of it. It's just one of those unfortunate bounces that hit his skate. I'm not mad at Sanheim. I'm sure some could say, well, you let the goalie have it there. I mean, if you move out of the way, right, and you get out of the way, and you tie up somebody on the post side, I mean, I get it's not the worst thing in the world to say, but at the same time, in 2020 era of hockey, getting in front of the shot is what you're taught to do, and if you don't do it, you're not going to play. You have to be 1,000% bought in to allow the puck to hit you. It's just unfortunate that when it did hit him, it went to someone backdoor who was standing there, and Martin Jones was somewhat left out to dry. Was it an unlucky bounce? Yes and no. Does Sanheim have to be more aware? Yes, absolutely. I'm not saying he had zero fault into this. I just think it's an easy blame after you see what happened to say 1,000%. Sanheim's just an idiot for standing there. Sanheim's going to have his ups and downs. I already know who the controversial players are going to be this season. Sanheim's going to be one of them. Ristlainen is going to be the other. Let's get to the power play to make it 2-1 right before the first period ended. Ristlainen had a big bang body down low, boom, showed his power, showed his worth, showed his physicality, what he was brought here to do. Flyers end up earning a power play right before the period ended. You could see the difference, by the way, in how, and this isn't the first time I said this, but it's just noted throughout the broadcast. When Ellis gets the puck up top, it might have been a flub. It might have been one of those shots where the knuckle puck happens and it was awkward, but it finds its way through. The fact that there's poise and patience up top, and you can work around the wall with Cam Atkinson, and there's just flow and patience and poise and understanding of the moment, not overreacting, not being too jittery, not holding the stick too tightly. They feel confident in what they're doing and when they're moving the puck around the power play. It gets through traffic, and Joel Farabee is sitting there right at the doorstep to give the Flyers a 2-1 lead heading into the break. Massive. Massive after 20 to be up. I also want to talk about the third period goal by this line. I'm still just praising the Farabee-Atkinson-Brassard combination. It's just so damn magnificent. Farabee in the neutral zone. The game's tied up at this point. It's 3-3. You had a 3-1 lead. It could have been a 4-1 lead if Atkinson, yes, I'm pointing out Atkinson again. I'm not blaming him for not scoring. I'm just saying he had a grade A scoring opportunity in the slot, left wide alone, couldn't score. Seconds later, the Bruins capitalize. But it could have been 4-1 there. Anyway, third period. It's 3-3. Joel Farabee in the neutral zone. Pounces. Transition. I love this team in transition. They get up on their skates. They get up ice. They get odd man rushes. They get man advantages. They do. They got speed. They drive the net. They open up lanes. They move the puck well. They have players who are not afraid to shoot. Cam Atkinson is actually shooting the puck. 2-on-1, I'm going to shoot the score. They have that thought process right now. And Joel Farabee is finding Cam Atkinson. As Farabee picks the puck up, skates through the neutral zone, here's Cam Atkinson driving backdoor. Joel Farabee threads the needle. Atkinson gets taken down. He goes hard into the boards. But oh, by the way, the puck went in the net first. So we got that. We have Keith Yandel playing smart. We got plays where we're dumping it into the zone. It's coming off the boards hard. Scott Lawton goes to the greasy areas, find the loose puck right there in the slot. Boom. This team can score goals. I didn't love the first line throughout the night. I thought they were very slow. They did not produce a lot of offensive production until late when Sean Couturier in the neutral zone, once again, neutral zone, winning your battles there, and then moving forward from that moment. creating energy. Drops it off to Travis Konecny. And I've seen a couple times now, TK, when he enters the zone, and it was a 2-on-2, right? And the way Sean Couturier got into the defense, caused some havoc, allowed Konecny to have time and space, so it was perfectly executed. As I allude to, this team doesn't just enter the zone and then do whatever. They drive with a purpose. They pass with a purpose. They go to specific areas on the ice to open up flow. It's what good teams do. We just have not been accustomed to seeing that over a period of time. TK, with time and space, though, he's able to get the shot off that he wants. He's utilizing the D zone. Like I remember the defense, as he's entering the other team's D zone, the Flyers' offensive zone, he's using that space to his advantage, whether there's a screen involved. I saw that the other day when they played Seattle. He entered the zone perfectly. Good pass, good stretch pass. Here he goes. He's got time and space. Bad gap control by the defenseman, and he rips it. But TK starting the year off this hot is ridiculous. They need that to happen on top of one of the hottest lines in hockey in the Fab line. That's right, Fab. Farabee, Atkinson, Brassard. How ironic that they're going up against the perfection line. Hey, damn it, we should be changing the name to the perfection line here in Philadelphia. Now, don't mind me for 1 second, because I'm doing a double shift tonight. I obviously had the Sixers game to talk about. I recorded that reaction first, and that actually just uploaded, so I want to make sure I can publish it right now. It's one of those good days in Philly sports. And if you go listen to that podcast as well, you'll hear me talk about how it's my favorite time of the year. Sixers, Flyers, winter teams are both in action. So I mentioned that on that pod as well. Not to double dip, but okay, that is now published. I apologize. Let's get to some of the bad, because they did give up that 3-1 lead. So Ristlainen, a couple poor decisions by him, and I was always afraid that a 70 to 75% Ristlainen, because he is coming back from an injury, a 70 to 75%-ish tied with a Stanheim, who is going to make his own mistakes in his own right. It's just inevitable. He will have issues. He'll cough the puck up. He'll probably have some bad decisions, some bad outlet passes, some bad turnovers, and then tie that together with a less than 100% Ristlainen. Yeah, this is probably going to be a recipe for a disaster at times, and you saw that. Now, for the bad change by Ristlainen, the idea and the concept of what he wanted to do, I don't have an issue with that. You're in the offensive zone, the puck comes up to the blue line, you want to put it in the corner and then change to get some fresh players out there, that's fine. But the way that it was executed, it gave Taylor Hall a wide open breakaway. And guess what? When you give him that type of opportunity, he's going to bury it. He just absolutely snipped Martin Jones, who got left out to dry. So I don't mind the idea of let's get it deep, let's put it behind their goal line, get some fresh legs. But the way that it happened, you just got to be smarter with the approach. It's not the mindset that was flawed by any means. And then for that tying goal, first off, you give the Bruins an offensive zone draw. They win the draw, and they execute it perfectly, and they really annihilate you right there in the faceoff dot. There's a reason why I brought up how dominant Claude Giroux was in the game against Seattle, and the way that he just dominates the draws. Like, it is so damn important, and it just doesn't get noticed as much as it should. And the Bruins winning the draw the way that they did, and Marchand working along his side of the ice to make that happen as well off the draw. Ristlainen, backdoor, doesn't tie up his guy, who happens to be one of the best players in the league in Brad Marchand. You can't have him there wide open, banging away at a puck that's sitting there. That's just absolutely 1,000% unacceptable. So I would say Ristlainen, for the crowd that despises him and says that he's one of the worst ever, they probably have a lot of support today for that. Now, there was good as well. You saw the physical presence. I'm not going to act as if that wasn't important at all. But at the same time, yeah, I did not like some of the things I saw on Buffalo Twitter, or I should say Buffalo Sabres fans were very active on Twitter to just crush this guy. He lives rent-free in a lot of their heads. Philly fans are stupid. Just wait until they figure out what he's all about. Or it looks like the same issues are happening in Philly, huh? I thought it was just a Buffalo Sabres thing. These Sabres fans must be riding high because they started the season off with a couple wins. Ristlainen's not 100%, and he's going to make mistakes. I don't know if this tandem is the best idea, to be honest with you. And I thought early on, when we were talking about the first acquisition, when the trade was made, you're already written in that Ellis and Ivan Provorov would be a pairing. Sanheim and Ristlainen would be a pairing. Maybe it would make more sense to go with your steady, stay-at-home defenseman type. Maybe a Justin Braun. Maybe maneuvering around those. But then if Justin Braun's playing top 4 minutes, that doesn't make me very satisfied. I say it all the time. When Justin Braun is playing top 4 like he did last year, there's a correlation with the defensive zone issues that we witnessed and the fact that Braun is logging that many minutes. So, I don't know if that is the best idea. I'm just looking at alternatives. I don't know if those two who are both mistake-prone fit the best. It doesn't mean they can't play at all, but you could see the difference in Ivan Provorov being the guy and then having to play with a Shane Gostisbehere or a Sanheim and a Philip Myers compared to what a Ryan Ellis does for Ivan Provorov. Well, can you find, obviously not to that level of a number 1 defenseman, but can you find a better mix with Ristlainen than Sanheim? And look, it's one game. I just know what is going to be out of Sanheim this year. I think we kind of understand him as a player. We've seen him log in enough minutes at this point. And with Ristlainen, we know as well there's going to be issues in the D zone. But he's also going to give you that physical presence. And he can add some special teams unit stuff as well. So I'm not going to tell you fully that they blow 1,000% and they're just awful and they're the worst ever or anything of that nature. But I saw some signs of some things that might concern me if it continues, for sure. But he's also playing in his first game this season. He's also battling an injury. So Ristolainen's going to be one of those players. I know you gave up some hefty compensation for him, and you also got to think of the contract as well that's in play here, knowing what you gave up to acquire him. But he's not someone that can just be solid at 70, 75%. And here's the problem. If he's not, and if he's closer to 100 than I imagine, then maybe we're in some trouble. But like I said, we're a handful of games in, and by no means am I just going to say that he's absolutely going to be awful or he's absolutely going to be this every single game. It takes time to adapt to a new team. It takes time to adapt to a new system. It takes time to adapt to a new deep pairing. There's a lot in play when you transfer over, and you have to get accustomed to some structure on top of not being fully healthy at the same time. So that's my stance on Ristlainen as a whole. Let's get to some block shots. Ivan Provorov, 9 block shots. Travis Sanheim recorded 6 block shots. So, this team is just bought in. I heard Cam Atkinson speak on the TNT show after the game, and I'm having a fun time listening to the whole new TNT concept, even though, with Kenny Albert and some of these guys, we know who they are and what they're all about, and they did a good job of making it feel like normal hockey, normal NBC broadcast, in terms of the actual product watching-wise. It feels the same, but the whole TNT crew with Biz and Wayne Gretzky and all that, I think they do a good job with it. It's very entertaining. When they went to Cam Atkinson after the game, they were talking about AV and what it means to play for him. He's like, look, the guy lets us play free. He trusts me out there. He allows us to play free, and that's what you ask for as a coach. Give us that, he's not, I'm just paraphrasing a little bit, but the concept of giving these players freedom. Cam Atkinson's a goal scorer. Let him get in those areas where he needs to go to so he can put himself in that position naturally because he knows what to do out there to let it rip. And you have a guy on the wing who's willing to come down the ice and let it fly. And once you start seeing the confidence happen, you can see it with TK. When the puck goes in, you're more willing to take more shots. And when you take more shots, when you have the goal scorer touch, they find its way. The puck just figures it out, and there's a groove. And what do you know? You're sniping more than you think. I even thought the little things were important. You're talking the fourth line, back-checking, diving full speed, getting their stick on it, right? I mean, just full maximum effort. At that point, it was a 1-goal game in the third period. We're giving maximum effort, doing the little things, diving all the way back. That's what'll keep yourself in the lineup. How about Sean Couturier late? Getting punched in the face. Not getting in the mix too much where he knows where the line is. He ends up getting hit, pops his head back, boom, what do you know? Now, the Bruins ended up getting banged up a little bit with Foligno getting injured. That's a loss. But ultimately, even last year, we talked about this Bruins team. They have a really good number 1 line, and everybody's aware of that. What about their depth scoring? Who do they have that they can rely on heavily for, a long period of time to consistently get them production? They brought up DeBrusque early in the TNT broadcast before the game started. They're going to need more guys if they're going to be consistently pushing forward here. They're in this awkward spot. They have enough talent to compete, obviously, but they're in an awkward spot where they have holes. So we'll see who the Bruins are, but quite frankly, I don't care as much because I care about the Flyers. And right now, I see a team that looks good, that's playing for one another. They're bought in. They love each other. It's a good atmosphere. It's a good culture. 2 years ago, it was a brotherhood in there. Everybody loved one another. I'm looking at, where's my phone? Here it is in front of me. I'm looking at the box score afterwards, right? And I'm seeing Oscar Lindblom throwing the body. It's some things that might not pop out initially, but you go back and you just think about what this team does for one another. Let's go to hits. All right, here's Derick Brassard, 5 hits. He had 2 assists tonight. Keith Yandle had 2 assists tonight as well. Let's go back to the hits. 6 hits for Oscar Lindblom. 4 hits for Nate Thompson. Aubé-Kubel was -2. He's someone I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye out on. JVR with an assist. Ryan Ellis with an assist. Claude Giroux with an assist. Scott Lawton got on the board. I told you that sometimes he's been making some decisions that I've been questioning. So, what does that line look like as we continue to move forward throughout the season? He got on the board. A couple years ago, what was it about? It wasn't just one guy. It was you could get a goal from Scott Lawton. You could get a goal from the fourth line. You can get a goal from Claude Giroux. You could get a goal from, you name it. It was somebody new. JVR, TK, Hayes. Well, right now, obviously there's one line that's buzzing and helping really create your identity. But I don't want to downplay the first. I thought today the first line was a little weaker, but there was a dominant performance against Seattle where G was doing his thing, Cootsie was doing his thing, TK was doing his thing. Was that the Seattle game or was that the game prior? No, it was the Seattle game, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. It's like these games are all rubbing into each other. But regardless of that first line, I'm not trying to downplay it from how I've seen them dominate early in this season throughout games. But I'm just saying also, at the same time, even though they had moments of tonight, and then they showed TK coming up large, getting that 2-goal separation. They have their spurts of greatness. The line really generating it all. My point I'm trying to get to here, but I'm bouncing off the walls. You're still getting key contributing from other pieces. Did that even make sense? It should. It should. Anyway. NFL fans, hungry for a big win this week? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, has you covered. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game, and if they do, you win $200 in free bets. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, it's that simple. DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also get skin in the game with same-game parlays. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code BRODES to bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and win $200 in free bets. If they win, you win with promo code BRODES. This week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Okay, I want to get you the Anytime Hotline. Hear from the people after the game. And this episode, real quickly, the Anytime Hotline is brought to you by BetQL. Do you want to get an advantage over your sportsbook? Download BetQL, the only app you'll need to make smart bets. Their model covers everything: spreads, over-unders, and player prop bets. There's sharp data so you can see who the professionals are backing. Line movement so you can jump on betting opportunities in real time. And team lineup, breaking news, and injury status updates. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store right now to download BetQL. Enter the discount code BRODES at payment checkout for 25% off any of their subscription offerings. You can find this information down below in the description. Okay, here we go. Let's kick it off. Let's hear from you after a really strong win from the Fly Guys.
Brodes. Hey, man. Cut the Flyers game. Great win by the Flyers. Solid effort all the way around. I liked how they were moving the puck, and freaking Cam Atkinson, man. I know guys were talking some trash by him, whether he could score or not, and he really just gave it to them. I guess the one bad note is Ristlainen didn't have such a good game today. He had that penalty, and then missed that one goal when it was tied. I think it tied it up 3-3 at that point. But, I think, I think he needs to concentrate just a little bit more, work on that defensive side just a little bit more.
Yeah, his defensive side is going to be an issue. Like, I'm never going to sit here and anticipate that to just change where he's some lethal stud in the D zone. But, can he be manageable? Can he be acceptable? Can he hold his own on that end and then, bring that physicality and be tough and, add to the offensive layers to this team? And, can he mold himself into this cohesive player that he wasn't able to fully do in Buffalo? I still think that is very possible. In terms of Cam Atkinson, yeah, he was a 40-goal scorer. I mean, that was a thing, and maybe he needed a change of pace, a new look, play with some players, a new energy. Sometimes you're just in the same place for so long. You're playing under John Tortorella. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I think he's a very solid coach that players he's tough, but players do enjoy playing for him because he cares about you. One of my best friends plays for the Columbus Blue Jackets, has so much great things to say about Tortorella as a head coach, and I know that there are a lot of guys that just thoroughly enjoy playing for him. You got to work your balls off. You got to work your tail off, but, after so many years, you get a new place involved, and you play with a Joel Farabee who's all over the ice, and he's making plays in the neutral zone. He's entering the zone, and he's putting the pass right on the tape, and then even when it's a 2-on-1 and he's on the other end, he's properly where he needs to be to confuse the defender on, where do I go? That gives Cam Atkinson enough time and space to come down the wall and show. And like, the things I'm also noticing with this team is, and this is just how good these players are at this level, this is just the nature of playing at the NHL level, but when they come down the ice, the way that they change their shooting angles, I've seen it so many times now where I just think in years past, they come down the half wall, they try and throw shots on net because they want to have technically a lot of shots, but they're not from high dangerous areas. They're just throwing it on net and then trying to establish things from there. But the difference is, last game, Willman comes down the wall. He changes his angle as he cuts through the middle, tries to use the defenseman as a screen, throws the shot on net. Here comes Cam Atkinson. Is he going to pass? Is he going to shoot? He changes the angle of his stick. He gets a shot on net. Did it squeak through? Yes, but maybe the deception played a big factor on the way that the goalie comes out and he's at the top of his crease. So, I love the way that they do that. Yet I say this, and the first thing that comes to my mind is, early in the game, Scott Laughton makes an outstanding play in the D zone where he's covering a point, but he's also getting his stick along the half wall. He creates a turnover, and he goes pretty much on, I'd say, a mini breakaway. This is real early in the first period, and he lets one crank as hard as possible, just leans into a clap bomb. But the way that he could have probably went with a deke approach instead, maybe go to the right. There was time to cut across the middle, cut across the crease, utilize that space to move the goalie left to right. Maybe he could have done that, but just all around, though, the way that this team does the little things, they seem very detailed in what they're doing. Everything's methodical, and there's an approach to this. There's a mentality with their offensive game, and you're seeing the damage being done on the scoreboard. So, yeah, with Cam Atkinson, I mean, there wasn't as much flack as there is on Ristlainen. I didn't think there was as much of a question mark other than just, an older player, a smaller player. Does he still have 40 goals in him? That style of hockey still in him type of thing. And I guess maybe he's shutting a lot of maybe those people up early on here. So, but once again, not as harsh as, let's say, the Ristlainen factor or the Ristlainen trade or anything like that. All right, what's next?
A well-enjoyed Beantown beatdown tonight. The first two periods, I got to admit, I think the Flyers were fortunate to be where they were in the game. I mean, Boston was pretty much taking it to them, and you felt like even though the game was going into the third tied, that Boston seemed to be in control. But give the Flyers credit. Once again, the Atkinson, Brassard, Farabee line has been potent. And for a guy that was heavily criticized and worried about coming into the season, Martin Jones, I thought, played pretty well. I mean, I can't fault him for any of the goals, and he made the saves that he had to make. Another big one Saturday against a team that a lot of people think is a cup contender in Florida. Should be an interesting hockey game.
No doubt. I'm really looking forward to see how they continue the way that they're playing right now. And you brought up Jones. I think that's an excellent point. I probably have not given him enough credit or just mentioned his name enough, except for the opening where I said it was fine to give him the nod. You're absolutely right. You know, he has been under the fire, and he's had some issues over the last handful of seasons. And we were wondering, what do you have out of your backup? You can't anticipate having a shutdown lethal weapon where, he's just an absolute stud that will make zero mistakes, because if that was the case, this individual would be a starting netminder. So your backup is going to be weaker, but can they hold their own? Can they keep you involved in games? Will they give you a fighting chance? I love using the starting pitching rotation as my example. Your third, fourth, and fifth starters, more your 4th and 5th starters, give us a chance. Give us a fighting chance. While your ace, it's get us a win. Put the team on your back. So there's different mentalities. I thought Martin Jones, yeah, absolutely. You can look through those goals and you can point out flaws that happened in front of him more so than, ooh, that was a weak one. Boston's probably saying, ooh, that was a weaker one throughout. While Martin Jones, it's, hey, Ristlainen allowed a wide open guy back door. Hey, there was a breakaway when there was a change, and Taylor Hall, guess what? He's going to score more times than not when he's able to have that type of space in front of him. He just ripped it twine. That was a beauty. You're not going to blame Martin Jones for that. And then what was the other one that I'm missing? Oh, that was the Sanheimer hit off his skate and then ended up being a bottom 6 by the Bruins, kind of working it around. So, yeah, absolutely. Then you touched on being outplayed. I think that's fair to say, right? I mean, for majority of this game, you didn't feel great early on first period. The Bruins were buzzing pretty good, but you capitalized on your limited chances. And when you have goal scorers and when you have a sense of urgency, when you carry the puck, and I also have to give them credit for creating those turnovers, being in the right spot. A lot of these goals that we've mentioned over the last handful of games have been generated because of the style of play that they're playing, and they're swallowing teams, forcing them to make an error, forcing them to make a mistake, and from there, there's a sense of urgency to go on that odd man rush. So give them credit for that as well.
Hey, this is Pawpaw. What a breath of fresh air. The Flyers, man. They're back. It looks great. They look great. This is the best they've looked in a while, a long while. So just giving you all a shout out. Let's go Flyers.
I love it. I love the energy. I love the attitude about it. And I'll be honest, while I was watching that game, I tweeted out, the Flyers are good. And I know we're 3 games into the season, but you could just tell that, and look, things can happen, injuries can happen and whatnot. So, who knows over an 82-game sample size. But when you watch this team, they know what they're doing. They have veteran players. Chuck Fletcher decided to target this offseason by acquiring what? Veteran presence, leadership group, and you're seeing those. Keith Yandel, Brassard, these guys were pretty much brought in at the end there, and they're overseeding expectations. Is this what they're going to be forever? I don't know. I mean, is Keith Yandel and Brassard going to be able to give you this 82 games? I don't know. But I'm telling you, if they did like this, they're veteran players who have played a lot of hockey. Smart, IQ. They know how to get it done. They know the little things. They know how to play at this level efficiently. The players that Chuck Fletcher brought in, they're all executing here. And they're helping out this brand. They're helping out the culture. So you could tell that they have players who know how to play the game, that know what to do. That was what they tried to emphasize this offseason. They had too much youth. Philip Myers, Sanheim, as a core, trusting that with Gostisbehere. That was 3 of your 4 top defensemen. Shane Gostisbehere, Sanheim, and Phil Myers. And then what else was flirted in there? A lot of crap at times. Justin Braun playing top 4 minutes. I even forget. I mean, you're talking about some of these dudes. Like, who else played as their 7th defenseman at times last year? Who was the dude who scored that goal who sucked? He was like a journeyman who blew, and he got a nod to play. I can't even think of the guy's name right now, and I have to figure it out. We'll end it on that note, which I never thought would be the way that we're going to end things here, would be by bringing this guy up. 2020 NHL Flyers roster. Who was it? Nate something, maybe? You had Sam Moran, who was flipping around all sorts of positions last year. Man, who was it? All right, here we go. No, not the 2021 roster. I want the 2020 roster by position. Defenseman. Mark Friedman, who's still hanging around. Eric Gustafson, who sucked. Robert Hick. Nate Prosser. Nate frickin' Prosser. All right, you see the difference? Jeez. Anyway, with that being said, I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me today. Go Flyers. I'm loving every single second of it. I can't wait for Saturday. I'll be in attendance. Thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you next time.